Welcome to First and Goal, where everything is made up and the points don't matter. Get ready for the latest and hottest topics in the SML. Let's get started. Here's your host, Mad Bomber.
All right, here we are for our second episode of First and Goal. This time we've got Prime, Terrible TwoStep, and QB Stud. QB Stud making his second appearance here on First and Goal. And so without further ado, if you guys are ready, we're going to jump right in.
Let's go. I'm fired up.
All right. So first down, our first topic is going to be the GOAT effect. We noticed in the draft, it looked like teams were avoiding the AFC South. Do you think the GOAT effect is real? Prime, obviously, we'll start with you with this one.
Oh, God. Why start with me? All right. I'm fired up because I think the GOAT effect is real, and here's why. You had Tiny Titan, big Titans fan. He says, well, I actually just wanted the Seahawks. Okay, join another conference, whatever. Then you had New York Titans, same deal, NYT. He was high up. He had the Ravens. Okay, that's cool. But then you had KJ Slander. He had a chance at the Titans. He passed on them. You throw in the fact that Paulie was talking this big game. Even Dan was talking this big game. And we don't even have a Texans owner right now. There's no way how you can tell me the Texans are a worse Madden team than the Lions or Jets right now. But there you go. The Texans went undrafted. The GOAT effect is alive and real.
I mean, that's a pretty good argument. QB, what do you think?
Just for the sake of arguments, first off, you didn't talk about Dan. Dan had the option and also talked about being in the AFC South just to kind of throw a little dirt on your fire. He picked the Broncos, A, because it was the bigger challenge, and B, because the Broncos have an absolute stud-filled squad. So we can talk back and forth on Paulie if he was ducking or not. I heard a little bit on his show. Basically what he said was the team, quote-unquote, fit him better. The problem was he admitted he knew no one who was on that team. All he knew was a halfback that could run halfback stretch.
Yeah, all that Paulie knew was the Dolphins weren't in the AFC South.
Yeah, I mean, all he did during that time was he said, okay, I'm going to push the blame on these other people, and talked about Royce leaving the AFC and everything else, and Tiny. So that was Paulie's problem. Now, the one other thing that I'll talk about is, if you look at it, you said that no one would say the Lions are worse than the Texans. Our host would take the Lions over the Texans. So there you go.
That is true. I would have taken the Lions over the Texans if it was down to the two. TwoStep, what do you think?
I think there's definitely an effect. I mean, for them guys to be barking about taking the Texans, taking the Jaguars, Tiny moving from the Titans, KJ not taking the Titans, that's something said right there. I mean, myself, I'll admit it. I was staying away from the AFC South. I'll admit that right now. But I did go to the AFC to face stiffer competition. You got to be the best. You got to play the best, I guess.
Yeah.
And I give props to Coop and Bomber for taking the challenge when there's other teams available that they could have took and steered away from the South.
You get a little bonus points for that.
Oh, man. Come on, TwoStep.
All right, so I'd say it's pretty much in agreement, though, that there is a GOAT effect. At least to some degree, it did influence people's decisions. So let's move on to second down. So we already know we have a couple favorites of who's going to win Simbardis this year. Who do you guys think could be a surprise Simbardi? So not counting Field and Lawyer, since they've already won one. TwoStep, who do you think could be a surprise Simbardi this season or this cycle?
This is my answer here. I think anybody in the NFC is going to be a surprise. I'm calling it right now. AFC sweeps the Simbardis this cycle.
Wow.
I mean, you got guys like Prime, QB, Dan, Future.
Yeah, I lost him again.
Yeah, I lost him.
He dropped this time.
Oh, he was just getting good, too.
Yeah. All right, so we'll go to QB now.
All right, so my surprise Simbardi, I think, will be a little bit of a surprise in that I'm going to say Future is the surprise Simbardi guy. Now, that may not make a lot of sense at first glance because we all know Future is a great player. He's always done a great job his entire tenure in the SML, but he's been dubbed a regular season warrior to this point. I think part of his problem, especially last cycle, was the division wasn't on the same caliber that the conference itself was at. That NFC was extremely top heavy. So if you're not, and no offense, two-step, if you're not used to playing those guys at the absolute top, then you start to coast and kind of go through the motions. Not everybody's like Prime, where you just walk through the motions during the regular season and then kick it into another gear. I think now that Future's in this division that I think is easily the toughest division in the SML for the cycle, he's going to be in that playoff mode throughout the year, year after year, and I think he'll be able to carry that into a Simbardi victory.
All right, I mean that makes sense. The competition's gonna push him to be better. What do you think, Prime? Do you have a surprise Simbardi winner?
Yeah, I got a strong guy here, and it's actually somebody from the NFC. And I'm going to piggyback a little bit off of what TwoStep had to say. NFC is pretty weak compared to the AFC, and when you look at the Carolina Panthers and Rolls-Royce, Royce is a tough guy. He knows how stiff competition is in the SML already. And with Christian McCaffrey, with that defense, with his user ability, I think he's going to kind of walk through the NFC. And then it's just one game. It's just one game of the Super Bowl. And at some point, I think Royce is finally going to get his first Simbardi. And like I said, walk through the NFC, and you have to have the ball bounce at a weird kind of way. We've seen it with the Memorial Day Miracle. I think Royce wins one on a Memorial Day Miracle too.
That's interesting. You have a different outlook than QB, where QB thinks Future with that tougher competition is going to be locked in a little more, whereas Royce has an easier path, and you think that'll help get him there.
Yeah.
What do you think, Two Step? You got anything to add? I know you got cut off earlier. Okay, I guess not. All right. So in that case, we'll move on to topic number 3. So it's going to be, of the Simbardis this cycle, who's going to win more? Prime, QB, or the field? Two-step, I'll let you go ahead and take this one first.
Yeah, I'm going to take the field on this one. Both in Prime and QB will both have to develop young quarterbacks to maintain any kind of dominance this cycle, I believe. I think
you have to ding his points for this for sure.
Yeah, so we're gonna deduct 5 points for technical difficulties. All right, so let's just go ahead and we'll throw this to Prime then. Obviously, I assume you're gonna go with you, but what do you think?
Yeah, so here's the thing. I'm never not going to choose me, and here's why. For like a majority, if you look back at our history, we've had 7 season cycles. I've won at least 3 to 4 Simbardis in our 7 season cycles. I don't see that changing, and here's why. I'm going to roll with a young quarterback. He's going to be cheap, and then I'm going to load up my roster with talents because I won't have to pay a quarterback big money for most of this cycle. I think between myself, I think QB is going to have a few. Between me and him, there's no way the field would have a chance. But I think I might win a majority of them on my own.
Okay, that's really humble of you. So QB, what do you think?
I'll actually have the same thing for the similar reasoning. So first off, what he didn't mention was the reason why being in a tough division isn't going to weigh me down like you would think is that there's going to be 3 wild card spots now from this Madden on. So being in a tough division isn't the huge penalty that it used to be. So I expect, even if I have slightly down regular season year, to be in the playoffs year after year. And I also have that young quarterback who's an absolute stud. He's much more refined than Eason is, so he'll be ready to go out of the gate. And the Chargers' defense is exceptional, even from year one, but they still have those young pieces to be able to build on, and I can kind of mold them into my image and definitely start competing for Simbardis right away and continue to do so as we get deeper into the cycle.
All right, so some shocking results there. Everyone picked themselves. Two-step, you back yet, or?
I've been here. I can hear you guys.
All right. So what do you think? QB, Prime, or the field, or you just want to say yourself?
Nah, I'll take the field.
Okay.
I think developing young quarterbacks for Prime and QB is going to be a little bit of a problem for him to maintain any kind of dominance this cycle. I think NYT and Woods have a good shot to take some of them Simbardis from them. And if you look at the NFC, guys like Meats, Dump, Grams, Lawyer, they're all good to great players. But like I said, I'm calling AFC sweeping the Simbardis, so I'm leaning on NYT and Woods.
We lost him.
Oh, lost him again. Okay. Well, he gets 5 bonus points for saying the field anyway. So as I am
I
part
don't
of
know
the
why
field.
I keep cutting out.
Oh, there he is. He's back. Just in time to hear that he got 5 bonus points. All right, so we're going to move on to the last topic. This should be a good one. Raider fan on the truth today. So I'm sure everybody heard what he said about why he left and everything. We'll start with you, TwoStep, before we lose you again. What do you think about Raider fans' comments today?
Well, it's shocked me, really. I mean, from what I've heard from him, and I've, DM'd him a couple times privately and just talked football, and I'm really shocked. To lose your favorite team is going to make you call out the guy that took him and just quit the league totally. I don't know, man. It's just he's not the guy I thought he was.
Definitely agree. I was definitely shocked would be a good word to describe it. QB, we'll go with you next, and I'll give Prime the last word on this one.
So I was obviously shocked as everyone whenever he left initially. I laughed because it just caught me so far off guard. But after hearing what he had to say, honestly, if you think about it for a second, you could see it coming this whole way. He's been very upset about the, evaluation process this whole time. He's been very outspoken about that. He's kind of been a little childish about it here and there. And obviously leaving was as childish as you can get on that. But I do understand his frustration. I definitely feel like Raider brought a lot to the community. Do I think he deserved to be knocked points for unsim play? Absolutely. Does that mean that I think he should have been something like 14th? No, not necessarily. And I know that the system isn't, I ranked these guys 1 to 32. I understand there's a series of points and evaluations behind them. But I think it was more just frustration with a not fully fair system. I think it's a fine system that they use. I've laid my problems with it out on the table. Obviously, Raiders should not have left under any circumstance, especially one as silly as that. But I don't think it was as surprising anymore. I think it's much easier to understand now that he said why.
Yeah, I definitely see where he was coming from. I just think he went about it a little bit in the wrong way, especially during a live event. Prime, obviously you're the commish.
Yeah,
I'm gonna give you the last word on this.
So I wasn't too surprised. I think just throughout this cycle, I've been notified by him a few times at different times that he was not pleased with the system. And it's not a system that says, oh, you're more valuable than you just because you're higher on the list. It just evaluates how you've been doing. And, if somebody has work or if they have something going on for 2 to 3 seasons and that slows them down, they might be lower than what they might have been if they're active for those 2 or 3 seasons. It's unfortunate that it was on a live event, but we stayed composed. We wish him the best of luck. It's unfortunate, look, but at the end of the day, we're going to make the SML a league that we hope it doesn't matter if you don't get your favorite team. We want somebody to be in the league who just wants to be in the league. We wish him the best of luck. He was an asset. I'm not mad, man. I'm just disappointed because we lost a good guy, and it's unfortunate. But, that's how the ball rolls sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. I wasn't, like you said, I wasn't too surprised that he left. He kind of had been dropping hints that if he didn't get the Raiders, he was gone. I didn't quite expect it in the outburst that it came in, but it wasn't too much of a surprise. I mean, he seemed actually pretty butthurt after Paulie did his bottom 5. I was surprised he didn't leave then.
Yeah.
So, all right, so that's it for this episode of First and Goal. The score is actually Terrible TwoStep with 17, QB Stud with 24, Prime with 22, but he gets the commissioner bonus of 5 points, which puts him at 27.
Let's go!
So once again, QB Stud comes in second place, and Prime gets 30 seconds to rant about anything SML. Go ahead, Prime. These 30 seconds are all yours.
Oh, yeah, baby. It feels good to beat QB Stud out once more, man. The best debater in the SML. I'm the SML Hall of Famer, the SML GOAT, 16-time champ, and now 1 for 1 in the debate show. It feels good to be primetime 000.
And there you go. In a shocking turn of events, Q-Prime talks about himself. So tune in next week for First and Goal, and we'll probably have 3 new contestants since these 3 will probably not want to be on here ever again.
I love the show. Guys. I'll be on every week.
All right. Appreciate having you guys. Everybody have a good night.
Thanks for listening to First and Goal. Be sure to check out Mad Bomber TV on Twitch and YouTube for the latest from the SML. And we'll see you next time on First and Goal.